languishing and die in a concentration camp. Israel created those conditions.
So was it justified?
So my view is Israel forfeited its right of self-defense based on its criminal abuse of the population of Gaza for 20 years.
It was just
I'm very clear. There's no need for extrapolation. Israel forfeited its right to self-defense.
Be absolutely clear here. The US government has used the bogey of ISIS to pursue their colonial agenda or hide their crimes against humanity. If they were serious about fighting the ISIS, how come they have removed the $10 million bounty from Abu Muhammad al-Julani's head? How come this once brutal terrorist is now a great friend of America? Recent developments from Syria and the wider Middle East have truly exposed the hypocrisy of the US administration and their links with ISIS. They're lying when they say that they are against ISIS. They created ISIS with the help of Israel to expand their terrorist agenda across the Middle East, but defame Islam and Muslims in the process. That's the reality. Created ISIS with the help of Israel to expand their terrorist agenda across the Middle East, but defame Islam and Muslims in the process. That's the reality. So the man allegedly responsible for the New Orleans attack was an ex-US soldier. Then the man responsible for the explosion in a Tesla Cybertruck outside a Trump hotel was also a US soldier. Both are dead now and not alive to defend themselves.
By mid-June 1945, 1,000 ex-Nazi scientists from various German weapons programs had been hastily moved into the safety of the American zone. There they could be kept away from anyone who might prosecute them. Despite the V2 death camps, unlike other Nazi hunts, the Germans now in US hands would not be put on trial for their crimes. Instead, America wanted their knowledge to develop ballistic missiles and other technology to finish the war with Japan. Rather than being held accountable, their past would be covered up, and their lives would begin again in the United States. In July 1945, the US Joint Chiefs of Staff authorized what would become Operation Paperclip, to evacuate the best Nazi brains to America. Colonel Holger N. Toftoy was again put in charge. Initially, 120 carefully selected German scientists, who only weeks before had worked for the enemy, would be allowed into the United States. Ostensibly, they were prisoners. In reality, contracts and fees had been negotiated. Their families would also join them later. Werner von Braun would be among the very first to go. The V2 team soon settled at Fort Bliss, Texas. Von Braun would be joined by several colleagues, including Arthur Rudolph, the V2 chief engineer. There they would employed on converting the V2 into an American missile.
So there we have it, right? So America loves Nazis and terrorists, right? Welcome to 2025, right? Possibly the age of karma. And so, you know, you watch all the reports, it's like, oh my God, it's, you know, it's ISIS. You know, someone's doing terrorism, right? So they got some terrorists in New Orleans. Oh my God, it's ISIS. But then we see in Syria, the US and Israel and NATO, Turkey, took the number 2 head of guy of ISIS, right? Washed him off, polished him off, gave him a suit, right? Blew up the Assad government and then put him in charge as the president of Syria now, right? And then 2 weeks later, you know, you get some supposedly immigrant from, I don't know, some Arab immigrant who was USS Army, blows up, 15 people, goes in and drives the truck and does a so-called terrorist attack, in New Orleans, right? Et cetera, blah, 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 right? So, wait a minute, let me get this straight. You guys put the number 2 head of Al-Qaeda in charge of, you helped bolster them and made him president of Syria, literally, right? Got rid of the government. And then, right, not to mention all these Nazis, right? So you made him president of Syria. A guy who they had a $10 million bounty on his head, nonetheless, right? So they had a $10 million bounty on this guy's head. And then nah, come on, man. Let's let bygones be bygones. Why don't you work for us? We'll make you president of a country. But then these people are complaining, oh my God, ISIS is terrorists in New Orleans. Huh, that's interesting. I'm just trying to make it make sense. And then 1,200 Nazi scientists, right? Building their programs and working with them. It's interesting that America and Americans are always supporting Nazis and terrorists, or Nazi terrorists, right? They're always somehow, some strange reason, these freedom-loving, justice-loving, democracy-loving people in America, right? I'm just saying, make it make sense, are always supporting, because the picture we looking at right there is from like 1945, right? So from 1945 to 2025, we find that Americans are always supporting Nazi terrorism, right? And they're all racist on top of that. I don't think any of these red blood, even these coon Captain America, right? You don't love America? Get out of America. I don't know, do Nazis love America? Does Nazis love America? You talking about those guys get out of America? Who are you talking about? I'm just curious. You don't love America? You got to get out of America. Who you talking about, buddy? I'm just curious. With all these people on, they come on TV, start talking about if you don't love America. I saw some Negro, right? I watch channels, and he, I'm not gonna call his name. This milk dud Negro, calls himself a genius. And I'm thinking like, dude, you're probably one of the most dumbest motherfuckers I've ever seen. You are a symptom of America where they, call themselves whatever, right? Democratic, freedom, whatever. And then you see all these Nazis and terrorism, and Nazis and terrorists, and then Nazi terrorists, right? And then they turn around and say freedom, justice, democracy, blah, 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 all this bullshit, propaganda. And he said, well, okay, now you see this guy, he calls himself a genius. He said, I'm such and such, a big genius. And I just watch it for shits and giggles. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you're a typical American. You can just call yourself a genius even though you're a total dumbass, right? That's a typical American. And, not any of my listeners, I'm sure these guys, if you're listening to this, you're probably actually a genius, not like that guy. And, they'll call themselves Christians. It's just typical of America. They just label, I'm a Christian, I'm this, I'm a this, I'm a that. They got all these labels for themselves, right? And none of it is real. Like none of it is really true. The actuality of who you are and what you are, well, we can't actually say that. You can't actually tell the truth about that. People that lie to themselves, been lying to themselves ever since, white people who came to America, right? Ever since the Indians laid eyes on white people in America, and even longer, right? Just in general, obviously. But, so you have these Nazis and terrorists and Nazi terrorists everywhere, right? Integrated into the fabric of society, Make it make sense. I'm just trying to make sense of it, right? And so you have to ask yourself, who are these people? Because I'm from America. I'm American, right? Don't tread on me. They got signs. They got Confederate flag. There's all kinds of shit going on. Total heathen debauchery. A nest of. I mean, I don't know I don't know how to describe it. Of fuckery and debauchery, right? A tangled web. So what a tangled web we weave, right? A tangled web of just debauchery and degeneracy and fuckery. The Nazis and terrorists and Nazi terrorists everywhere. You look, you turn around. You can see the fate of this place. It's inevitable, right? Obviously. Will it be 2025? Only God knows, right? But the karma is inevitable, you see? The karma of these Americans in America and the fate is inevitable. It's undeniable. You see? Like Norman Finkelstein said in that clip I showed. People say, we got a right to self-defense. You have no right to self-defense in the face, places like Israel and different places, in the face of what you've done to people, right? These people say, we got a right to self-defense. Israel has a right to self-defense. We're defending ourselves. 5,000 miles from your borders, you're defending yourself? What is, this is the same thing about free back to the freedom, democracy, justice, and Nazis and terrorist Nazis. I mean, it's just very circular bullshit. And people eat that shit up like the Captain America, the big genius guy. He's a genius. And he was talking about, I know I'm all over the place, but, it's early. He was talking about, I want America and got to be protected and all Americans. And I'm looking at this shit. I'm like, this is a freak show. This is a fucking freak show. I'm not sure how you think this story ends. I'm looking at these people, these Captain America Negroes, and especially them, like especially not the immigrants, but the Negro who came through slavery, Jim Crow, and still here today. What you call ADOS or FBA or whatever. I look at some of these Captain America Negroes. I'm just looking at you like I got cousins and shit. One he started blabbing about socialism one day. I was just looking at this nigga. I'm like, man, you out of your fucking mind. You got this white woman over here, your wife. You blabbing to me about socialism. And if I ask you the definition of socialism, you don't even know the meaning of the word. Total fucking insanity. But then if you say something, they're like, you crazy. I don't like him. I don't like you. You got a bad attitude. I said, why? Because I practice common sense. Like if you say something and you don't know the meaning of the word socialism, but you're blabbing to me you standing with your white wife blabbing to me about socialism, and I ask you the definition, you don't know the meaning of it. You don't like me because you don't know the meaning of words, and you here playing some Captain America bullshit in my face. But I'm wrong if I notice it. It's okay if you motherfuckers do it, but if I notice it, then the problem is not that you're doing it. The problem is me for noticing that you're full of shit, as George Carlin used to say. You listen. Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, really? Oh, listen. Okay, this guy's full of shit. Right? So if you full of shit, I'm wrong if I notice it. I'm supposed to not notice that you full of shit. I'm not supposed to notice all these fucking Nazis and all these terrorist Nazis and Nazi terrorism and et cetera, and this circular bullshit. You're not supposed to notice that. Even if it's going on for 1,000 years, you're not supposed to notice any of that. You're just supposed to, be like this guy, the big genius. Right? You're a fucking genius, but you don't notice any of these terrorists and Nazis that these people are involved with. But you're a big genius. America, you can call yourself anything. Right? You can just make up. America is a shithole where you just make up. Is a crazy, degenerate shithole where you just make up anything and do whatever. As long as you got enough power to enforce your bullshit, I guess. You can just say and do whatever. It doesn't matter what the truth is, right? I stand with Israel. It doesn't matter if they commit genocide, right? And kill 200,000 people. You just say it's 40 or 50,000. Come on, man. And then just sweep everything under the rug and say justice, terrorism, democracy. And then you turn around and say, what about all these Nazis and terrorists running around here that y'all, are backing, propping up in Syria and, just living amongst you, run all your organizations, these Nazis and terrorists, these Nazi terrorists, run all this. Hey, man, don't worry about that. We stand with Israel. You mean the same people that's helping you put in the terrorists, at the head of the Syrian government? Yes. That's killing 200,000 people? Yes. That's written in the Bible, that's the synagogue of Satan? Yes. Hey, you be quiet. Why you keep talking about that? I don't like this guy. Who, me? You don't like me? What? I didn't do anything. You the motherfuckers that's doing that. I just happened to notice it. Along, just happened to notice it. Like, at the job, whatever, all these fucking, hostile immigrants and these hostile, crackers in here. But I just happened to notice it. I mean, it just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm professional and friendly enough, but I know you motherfuckers are kind of passive aggressive around here. Hey, you get out of here. You're not shining out shoes hard enough. You're not bending over hard enough. Right? Why? Because I just noticed the shit that y'all doing. I mean, it's total bullshit. Like George Carlin said, it's all bullshit and it's all bad for you. That's my fault? You're the ones that's doing it. You gotta ask yourself, what is this really all about? All these terrorists, Nazis and Nazi terrorists, every fucking where, right? And then, so that you don't see it, you like under this dome of, total propaganda, right? Infested by, these zombies everywhere breathing down your fucking neck, whether it's in your family, whether it's, turn on TV. I don't know, You turn on the TV, like I say, here's normal Finkelstein talking about these Nazi, terrorists in Israel, right? Installing terrorists in Syria. That they're supposed to be supposedly against. I've never seen, what's interesting? I've never seen, like, the man at the Israel, these ISIS motherfuckers, that they just installed, these moderate head choppers that they installed at the head of the Syrian government. I've never seen them attack Israel. You ever ask yourself that? How come you never seen ISIS, these so-called Al-Qaeda, go after Israel? You ever ask yourself that question? They've never, I'm not saying they, I don't condone violence. But I'm just curious. They went after the Syrian government, they went after the Iraqi government, they've never went after the Israelis. I've never seen anybody say there was an ISIS terrorist attack or whatever, Al-Qaeda, went after some Israelis or Jews or anybody. Not in my whole fucking life. And I'm an old man. In my whole fucking life. I've never seen them go after them. But I did see them place ahead of Israel, the United States, and NATO, Turkey, take a guy who they had a $10 million, just showed the clip, a $10 million bounty on his head for being the head of, number 2 in Al-Qaeda, promoting him, giving him weapons and money, and, helping him overthrow the Syrian government and making him president of Syria and putting a suit on this guy. I did see that. Now, everybody's seen that. If you watch the news, maybe you don't watch the news, I don't know. But if you watch the news, you saw it. You can't unsee it. I mean, it's not my fault I saw it. You're like, you're a bad guy. What are you talking about? Shut the fuck up. I turned the fucking news on. You guys is on the news. You should have just shut down all the news stations like they do in like Ukraine with those Nazis or in Israel somewhere. You kick out all the news. You should have just shut the news down. It's not my fault I turned on the news and they reported it. I guess you ain't doing a good job with your propaganda, right? Something seeping through. It's not my fault. I just happen to see it. I mean, you know, like, hey. Right? 2025 starting off with a bang, right? It's not my fault. So, you know, and so, you know, I think what's interesting with what Finkelstein said, you know, these people have no right to defend themselves. You know, how in the face of all this Nazism and terrorism and Nazi terrorists do these people claim righteousness to, you know, the so-called defend themselves, commit genocide, you know, 1 million dead in Iraq, 250,000 dead in Syria, destroyed Libya, et cetera, you know, and on and on and on. You know, and then, you know, they say, we're defending ourselves from babies in Gaza, from women without any weapons and babies, tens of thousands. You defending yourself against them? You know, if there is a thing called karma, because they like to tell you there's no such thing. You better hope so. You better fucking, a lot of these people, you better fucking hope so. Either you that stupid, right? Like De Niro said in that movie, Casino. He said, listen, the guy said, they're scamming or whatever. He said, you didn't know they were scamming? You telling me you didn't fucking know these guys was in here in this casino scamming? You didn't know what the fuck was going on? He said, listen, you're fired. Get your shit and get the fuck out. Either you too stupid for me to have you around here, or you involved. Either way, I don't need you. I need you to get the fuck away from me and get out. Pack your shit and get out of here. Absolutely. You motherfuckers walking around here and you that fucking stupid. That's why I roll. I be rolling solo a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? Just me and my bodyguards. That's it. Me and my girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Because either either these motherfuckers around you are too stupid or they in on it. Either way, you shouldn't have them around you. 2025, you better take stock. Because eventually the karma is going to catch up with you. I don't give a fuck. Nazi terrorists, Nazis, eventually satanic terrorists, Nazis, eventually it's going to come to a head. Now, when is that time? I don't know. Right? Who knows? Only God knows, right? The prophecies say this. The prophecies say that. The fake prophets on YouTube or somewhere saying this. Right? The prophets say that. Oh, well, I don't know. These prophets saying a lot of shit, but their timing is, I don't know, kind of off. It's questionable. So when is the age of karma? When is the age of redemption? When is the salvation from the Nazi terrorists, Nazis? I don't know, but if there's a such thing as karma, you can bet on it. They got a whole lot coming. These motherfuckers that's like normal Finkelstein screaming about self-defense. You know, we got a right to defend ourselves. Thousands of miles from your borders? I'm not sure how that classifies as self-defense, right? I'm not sure how killing, you know, all these people who never did shit to you classifies as self-defense. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe I'm stupid, but doesn't make sense to me. But if you say so, keep going, right? Because either these motherfuckers are stupid or super corrupt. Either way, right? Keep going. There's got to be a brick wall up ahead somewhere that they're going to hit. I don't give a fuck how many psychics they got, how many remote viewers they got, how many alien buddies they got with advanced technology, how many reptiles, you know what I'm saying, they hang out and have dinner with. You know what I mean? You tip your finger on the scale. All that's fine. The universe is a big fucking place, regardless of what these small-minded Americans think, right? regardless what they think. I wouldn't give a shit about what an American or anybody think, but particularly these fucking dweebs in America. Right? These people who coddle Nazis, terrorists, right? You coddle fucking Nazi terrorists all day, and then you want to spew your bullshit and wave your flag in front of my face. Tell me about freedom and democracy. A fucking descendant of a slave, you want to tell me about, don't divide us. You're dividing America. You're dividing us. You're being divisive. This is divisive. You're talking about Nazi terrorists, Nazis. You're being divisive. You telling me about divisive? You piece of shit. When my grandfather and the people that raised me came up out of motherfucking slavery and Jim Crow. Don't get no more fucking divisive than that, pussy. So I'm not really sure what you're talking about. You're talking shit, right? You stand in my face talking shit. Fucking, while you coddle Nazis and terrorists and a bunch of fucking hostile races everywhere. You breed them motherfuckers and these Nazis everywhere. Because that's what Nazis is, just fascists with a racist supremacist tent. That's all they are, right? So, but yeah, 2025 is gonna be a humdinger. I was trying to do a prediction video, but something weird when I try to do live videos, the audio just blows, just goes out. I'm not sure if that's, it's my system. We'll see. But when I do these recorded ones, they don't. But I'm gonna get up off here. I gotta go to work. So this went way too long. But I may do maybe I'll do a predictions video. Maybe this was a prediction video. But it's something to be said for with this bullshit these people are spewing about, with all of the shit they've done and are doing, crying about, this and that. Something very weird about all that shit, all this shit that goes on, Don't listen to all these people that telling you they're a big genius, right? Or, all these weirdo prophets on the internet, or this person or that person, right? Blowing smoke up your ass. It's an evil world, right? It's an evil place. That's all. And eventually, they say, well, there's no karma. Eventually, it may not be karma, right? But there's always a bigger, fish in the ocean. So something got to give, right? Something's got to give. You look around you, something got to fucking give, man. The question is how. How does it, how does the cookie wind up crumbling? But something got to fucking give. Anyway, buckle up. 2025 gonna be a humdinger. That's all I got.